Alrighty, it looks like we are live. I want to talk about this week's upcoming games. As I stated, this is the first week, and for the remainder of the season, it'll be 5 versus 5. All Big 12 teams have finished up their byes, so your team is going to have a game for the rest of the season, the next four weeks, and a couple of you will have another game in the Big 12 championship. But that's another video for another time. Um, when I like to do my predictions, I prefer to go with the most confident and work down to the least confident. And that's what I'm going to do here. This one, it wouldn't surprise me if this is an upset. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Oklahoma State is favored against Kansas. But that's not what I'm picking. I'm going to pick Kansas to defeat Oklahoma State in Lawrence, Kansas. And I've got a 9-point victory here. I think maybe the wheels have fallen off of Oklahoma State. That game yesterday apparently has just scared me so much about being comfortable with them. Maybe it's an outlier, but wow, what an outlier! What a result, 48-0. Um, and I just don't believe that any of us really think of Kansas as a pushover. Not this year. Even with a backup quarterback, again, that seems to be a recurring theme in the Big 12. I think half of our teams have backup quarterbacks now. And as far as Kansas, I don't feel like they're a pushover. Um, Oklahoma State struggled so mightily on offense to not even get a field goal in the game. I don't know. Even with Kansas not having a great defense, I don't know that Oklahoma State's going to right the ship against Kansas. And I do absolutely trust the Kansas offense, even with their backup quarterback, who has looked good. And if you remember, his job was taken from him by Jalen Daniels, who's an exciting quarterback, absolutely exciting. But Jason Beam, I believe is his name, seems to be a better passer. No one is in the Big 12 as dynamic a runner as Jalen Daniels. But Kansas has something going on there. It wasn't just Jalen Daniels, like maybe we all thought. He's putting up some good numbers, even in the loss to Oklahoma. They put up 42 points with Jason Beam, getting a second start, I believe, this season. So my final prediction score for Kansas versus Oklahoma State, this being in Kansas, I'm going to give this to Kansas. I think they're going to win this by 9 points, 30-21. So that's what I got here. Now we've got two games here that I have decided by 7 points. I'll start off with TCU versus Texas Tech. Despite only putting up 17 points against Baylor, I don't believe at TCU's best that they have a better defense than Baylor. And that's rough for me to say because I'm clearly kind of thinking of Baylor in terms of when they're at their best, when they have their best defensive performance, and they've been hit or miss as far as that. But as far as TCU, I don't see a great defense, but I see a good enough one and a better offense that helps them compensate for their defense. So I've got a 7-point victory here. I think TCU is just a little too loaded and on a roll right now. They could lose this game, but it's in Fort Worth. And I've got Texas Tech losing this game. Tech, not a bad team, but up and down. The loss against Baylor was definitely a bad loss and unexplainable to me other than our defensive line really showed out. I don't believe TCU has as dominant a defensive line as Baylor can have and finally had. But I'm going to give TCU the credit for putting up some good points. And I think Texas Tech will bounce back as well. I don't know who they're going to start at quarterback. No clue. Did Behren Morton's kind of get shocked and kind of I'm struggling trying to find the word, but discombobulated. So anyway, I've got a 37-30 victory, a 7-point victory. I think TCU will handle business at home. Say hello, viewers, so I know who is watching. The third game, got 2 viewers. Say hello, so I know who it is that I can respond to. The third game, is also a 7-point victory. It's the only one that I see a road team winning. And you can call me a homer all you want. I think Baylor will beat Oklahoma. I think every team in the Big 12 has question marks. I think every team in the Big 12 has question marks, but I think it's a little too volatile situation for Oklahoma. Let's see here. 1982 Boomer Sooner. I honestly think Oklahoma fans and the haters overreacted. Okay, well, maybe you're going to call me a hater. The reason why I'm down on Oklahoma isn't because out of a hate or homerism or anything like that. It's just the turnover was so incredibly volatile. I believe, if I heard this correctly, y'all lost 49 players through graduation and transfers and things like that, with a new defensive coordinator, with a new offensive coordinator, with a new head coach, and a new quarterback. And there's just so much there. I have heard that maybe y'all's defensive line has suffered a little bit in this transition. And that's the reason why I'm down on them. Not down worse than the conference bad. Not anymore. I think y'all have righted the ship some. And I just kind of trust Baylor a little bit more. I think they're have shown a lot of signs of being volatile as well. He says, yeah, and yeah, I'm really not talking crap. Not now. When I do talk crap, it's all out of jokes, and it's usually a Facebook post or anything like that. But it's just the volatility of all the turnover with Oklahoma. And that's it. I can tell that I see a picture there. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I'll be honest, I did it at first, maybe after the second consecutive loss. I did have Oklahoma down at the bottom of my power rankings, but I don't have them there anymore. They're clearly a better team now. They seem to have something going on there. I can barely see a little profile picture here, but I can't tell that you're watching through YouTube, is what I was trying to say, because through YouTube you can post a comment and it will show up with your profile picture and the name that you go by. In Facebook, you have to jump through a hoop and click on a link to get permission to StreamYard to do so, blah, 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 blah. But back to the game. So Baylor versus Oklahoma, I have this as a 7-point victory as well, even though it is in Oklahoma. That's not a strong suit for Baylor with Oklahoma traditionally. But why we could lose this game would be if Richard Reese gets hurt, man, we are just kind of screwed. But if I hear correctly, and Oklahoma has a lackluster defensive line as far as the Big 12 goes, well, that's not going to work out well against Baylor. Baylor will run if they have to. They will pass if they have to. And if they don't have to worry about defensive pressure from the defensive line, then they should be able to pick and choose, and that ought to make them pretty dangerous. Another outlier, maybe I'm hedging my bet here, is if Baylor has another incredibly bad defensive performance like they did against West Virginia. West Virginia got some, a little bit fluky plays and all that, but they still beat us. And the reason why they beat us is because we let their running back run wild on us. The only game that we just let the running back loose. You couple that with good receivers for West Virginia and a good to decent quarterback. Well, we lost the game. The turnovers just came back to bite us, and it was too much, and it was because of our defense. Our defense never let a running back do that. And it was a backup running back at that who had a career game against us. So that'd be another way that I could see Oklahoma pulling this one out. But I still think they're a little volatile and a little bit up and down. Have they answered all of their questions? I don't know that yet. They have won their last 2 games. They beat Kansas 52-42 at home, and I struggle to remember who y'all played yesterday. Iowa State. Yeah, okay. So Iowa State. So Kansas and Iowa State, little on the lower end of the conference. So I don't know. But they have won their last 2 games, but not overwhelmingly, not like we're used to with Oklahoma. I think Baylor has a better option to did I say something wrong? I see you type in Iowa State. Let me read these comments. K-State and TCU are obviously great teams this year. And without a quarterback, what did you expect to happen in Dallas? Well, yeah, and not just without him, but a brand new team trying to learn itself as well. K State, and then you say Iowa State. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I might have spoken wrong when I talked about y'all's last two opponents. I believe it was Kansas and Iowa State. So I'm predicting a 31-24 victory, a 7-point victory on the road with Baylor. You can call me a homer all you want. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm giving you reasons why Baylor could lose this game as well. Dylan Gabriel looks okay to me. Y'all still have Marvin Mims. You have Eric Gray. You have talent. It may come down to what do y'all still have left on the offensive and defensive line. I think I trust Baylor's offensive and defensive line a little bit better. I definitely trust Richard Reese, but I would really like to see some running backs get healthy and have a deeper running back room because we're running that kid into the ground. So I'm not too happy and pleased with that. All right, so that was the end of my analysis for week 3. Game number 3, 31-24 Baylor over Oklahoma on the road. We'll see how it plays out. Let's see the fourth one. The fourth game, we've got West Virginia and Iowa State. Iowa State will travel to West Virginia. Iowa State doesn't have an offense at home or on the road. Not in conference, they don't. And West Virginia has definitely shown that they can have an offense. I don't know if they'll go nuts on offense, bringing Iowa State in. And the reason why I say that is because Iowa State, no matter their troubles, has dominated defensively. They're clearly a great defensive unit. And they're doing so without a running game, which is crazy to me. Not without an outstanding running game, because they obviously have a good passing game. They've got Hunter Deckers, who is among the leaders in passing yardage, and they've got Xavier Hutchinson, who is by far the best wide receiver in the Big 12. Should be a high draft pick. He's been spectacular. So if they've got a passing game, but not a running game, and they're still holding the scores low, that's crazy to me, because the easiest way to be called a good defense is if you're keeping the other offense off the field by having a running game, and people give them too much credit for that at times. Instead of it truly being a great defense, sometimes it's just that running back. Iowa State's doing it without a great running game, the best I can tell. So kudos to them. They have a great defensive scheme going on. So that's why I don't think West Virginia can go wild in this game, but I do have a 6-point victory. At home, I've got the Mountaineers winning 28-22. And the game I have the least amount of confidence in is going to be in Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple, where Texas is going to make an appearance. I have only a 2-point victory here. I think I want to give Kansas State a little bit of love because of their dominant offensive performance yesterday and their dominant defensive performance, a dominant overall performance, I should have said. And Texas is a little bit up and down, and I could easily see Texas winning. I really could, but they seem to kind of falter in the second half offensively. Texas has a good defense. Kansas State clearly has a good defense. Kansas State does not have a great offense, despite what we saw yesterday. But, maybe their new backup quarterback, who is starting now, is the real deal. Maybe teams haven't figured him out yet. Maybe once they figure him out, he'll be less spectacular. But I do see a Kansas State victory. I think they'll pull this out. I trust them more than I trust Kansas. Kansas State only has one loss, and that's to Tulane. I'm sorry, that's not true. They also lost to TCU, which nothing to hang their head about that. But Texas lost to Texas Tech. They lost to Alabama. Nothing to hang their head about that. And there's one more game that they lost. Oklahoma State. Nothing to hang their head about that, I don't think. Long story short, I do trust Kansas State more than I trust Texas right now, and it's in Manhattan. So I'm going to give them the edge in that regards. As I said, a 2-point victory. I think Kansas State will win 24-22. So I will recap these games real quick. I see we have another viewer here. Starting from my most confident, ending at the least confident. I've got Kansas defeating Oklahoma State 30-21. That's probably going to be the biggest surprise to everybody. The second game, I have TCU defeating Texas Tech University 37-30. I have Baylor winning on the road against Oklahoma 31-24. Then I have West Virginia defeating Iowa State. Iowa State travels to Morgantown. And then I have Texas losing to Kansas State 24-22. So that's how I think it's going to play out. I'm going to end this video. I hope y'all have enjoyed a little bit of content today. I put up 3 videos to kind of make up for not having a lot of videos over this last week. I've been busy, but I try my best to put something up there that's a little informative, a little bit of fun. I hope y'all enjoy these. And let's sick 'em bears. And we're out of here.